The wedding had been nothing short of a transaction. Emery didn't wear white. He didn't smile. His father held his trembling hand as if he were a contract being delivered, not a son about to give himself away. The guests whispered about the beauty of the Omega and the cold dominance of the Alpha he was marrying. Adrian Volkov, CEO of the most powerful conglomerate in the country. His name alone was enough to send rivals into silence, his reputation painted in ruthlessness and bloodless efficiency. People said he didn't know how to love, that he consumed and destroyed, that marrying into his world was nothing short of a gilded prison. But Emery agreed, because his family was drowning. His father's company, once thriving, was at the brink of collapse. Debts and sharks circled, lawsuits threatened, and Adrian extended his hand with only one condition: marriage. Emery signed the deal with tears burning in his throat. His father wept apologies, his mother whispered prayers, and his siblings bowed their heads. He alone was to bear the cost. And for 4 years, he did. Adrian Volkov was everything the Whispers promised: cold, untouchable, a looming shadow in a tailored suit. They lived under the same roof, yet Emery could count on one hand the words exchanged between them. Dinner is served. Good night. You're scheduled. That was all. Their marriage was never consummated, their bond never marked. Adrian didn't force himself, nor did he try to reach out. If anything, it was as if Emery didn't exist at all. He ate in silence, worked on designs for the family company Adrian had saved, and tucked himself away in his room every night. The mansion was large, but loneliness was larger. Emery often wondered if he was even married at all. Until the night, everything changed.
It started with the ache. Heat crept through his veins like molten fire, curling around his spine, settling deep in his core. Emery had grown used to suppressants, to careful planning and locking himself in when his cycle came. But this time, the pills had failed. His body burned, trembling, desperate. He staggered to his room, fumbling for the lock. His fingers slipped on the handle, and in his haze, he forgot to turn the key. The door remained cracked open, a fatal mistake. Inside, Emery collapsed onto the sheets, breath ragged. His skin flushed, sweat dampened his shirt. He bit into his pillow, muffling whimpers that only grew louder. The room filled with his scent, sweet, intoxicating, unrestrained. And down the hall, Adrian stilled. The Alpha had just returned from a late-night meeting, his jacket slung over one arm, tie loosened. He had walked these halls for years without pausing, but tonight something shattered his composure. The scent hit him like a storm, honeyed, addictive, an Omega in desperate heat. Emery. His name tore through Adrian's mind as instinct seized him. He didn't think, didn't breathe. He was moving, striding down the corridor, every nerve pulled toward the open door. And there Emery lay, flushed and trembling, pupils blown wide, begging without words. "Adrian!" Emery gasped when he saw him. "No, don't!" But the words melted into a broken moan as Adrian's control crumbled. The Alpha inside him roared, demanding, claiming. He crossed the room, shutting the door behind him with a thud.
Do you have any idea what you're doing to me? Adrian's voice was low, rough, almost unrecognizable. Emery shook his head, his body betraying him. I didn't mean... You forgot to lock the door. Adrian's breath ghosted against his ear as he loomed closer. Do you know what that means for an Alpha who's wanted you for years? The confession barely registered before lips crashed against his. The world blurred. Emery gasped as Adrian's mouth devoured his, as heat met heat and ignited into wildfire. Strong hands pinned him to the bed, yet they trembled, as if Adrian was holding back a flood. Adrian, please, Emery whispered. though he didn't know if it was a plea to stop or to continue. The Alpha growled, a sound of both restraint and hunger. "Say it, Emery. Say you want me." Emery's body arched, surrendering. I want you." That was all it took. The night became a blur of touches and desperate gasps, of whispered names and broken moans. Emery had never known such intensity, such consuming need. And within Adrian's hunger, there was something else, something tender, reverent, as if Emery were a treasure finally within reach. When it was over, Emery lay tangled in sheets and arms that refused to let go. His heart pounded, his body still shivering from aftershocks. He expected Adrian to leave, to return to his cold distance, but the Alpha stayed. Adrian brushed damp hair from his forehead, lips pressing gently against his temple. "You don't know how long I've waited for this." Emery blinked, confusion muddling his haze. Waited? Adrian's gaze softened, something Emery had never seen in 4 years of marriage. "I've loved you since before this marriage, since the moment I saw you." The words stole Emery's breath.
The days that followed were unlike anything Emery could have imagined. Adrian changed. The cold, ruthless Alpha became attentive, careful, almost indulgent. He no longer ignored Emery, he sought him. Breakfasts together, dinners where conversation actually flowed, small touches in the hallways that made Emery blush. The mansion no longer felt like a prison. It felt alive. "Why now?" Emery asked one evening as they walked through the garden. "Why after 4 years?" Adrian's jaw tightened. "Because I thought I didn't deserve you. Because I thought you hated me for forcing this marriage." Emery faltered, staring at the roses. "I thought you didn't want me." Adrian turned him gently, holding his chin so their eyes met. "I've always wanted you. I was terrified that if I touched you, I'd ruin everything, that I'd take away your choice. So I stayed away. But that night, I couldn't anymore." Emery's chest ached. All those years of silence, of loneliness, were built on fear and misunderstanding. And now, with the truth laid bare, he saw Adrian not as the ruthless Alpha the world feared, but as the man who had been silently in love with him, waiting, aching. "Then don't stay away anymore," Emery whispered. Adrian's answer was a kiss, slow and reverent, sealing a promise.
But love, like all fragile things, didn't come without shadows. The world began to notice the change. Adrian Volkov, once untouchable, now lingered too long at his Omega's side. Rumors spread. Weakness, distraction, vulnerability. Rivals circled, board members whispered, and the media sharpened their knives. Emery felt the weight of it all, the risk of becoming Adrian's downfall. Yet Adrian never faltered. "Let them talk," Adrian said, his arm around Emery as they stood by the window overlooking the city. "I won't give you up." For the first time, Emery believed him.
Their nights grew softer, their days brighter. What began as a contract bloomed into something fierce and undeniable. Emery learned the warmth in Adrian's laughter, the gentleness of his touch, the devotion behind his every word. And Adrian learned that love was not weakness. It was the strength he had been missing all along. The world could call him ruthless, cruel, merciless, but in the quiet of their home, in the circle of his Omega's arms, Adrian Volkov was simply a man who had loved in silence and finally found the courage to speak. And Emery, once a sacrifice, once a prisoner of duty, became the heart that made a monster